Thumbs up.
Awesome. We are going to get a little bit interactive tonight, okay, guys? Are you all right with that? Woo! Our leadership team has done a fabulous job so far with the What If series. Phil kicked off probably about 9 weeks ago now, introducing the concept of what if. And us as a leadership team, we thought it was brilliant, and we encouraged all of the leaders to start stepping up and sharing, not just saying something, but actually having something to say and really sharing their stories. And I think every single one of them have had the courage to share some of their life experience with you, and it's been brilliant. As I've watched them share the content that they've had to say and the stories that they've shared from their life, I've understood a couple of things, and there was some themes starting to gather over the series. So what I'm going to do, just so you all know, it is on the floor, so if you're like right at the back of the room and you can't see, it's all right, I'm going to explain it. We have 4 quadrants here on the floor, okay? Yes, one's bigger than the others. It's okay, I'm OCD when it comes to this stuff. It's supposed to be like that, all right? The first thing that I'm going to help you all understand is this side of the line. So if I'm on this side of the line at any point tonight, it's a positive space. Yeah, we've all got that? So I'm going to put 2 little positive things down on the floor here. 2 quadrants, positive, right? This side, what do you think that's going to be?
Negative.
Yeah. Jeez, you're all so smart. You're all so intelligent. So if I'm standing on this side of the line, it's in a negative context, okay? Now, the next one, I'm going to put it so you guys can see. On this side of this line here, this one running this way, in these 2 quadrants at the front, it's a future perspective. So we're looking into our future. So I'm going to put that one on that side. What do you think this one is back here? Past. You guys are awesome at this. Okay? Right. So we got our 4 quadrants set. Right? All of our leaders have done a fantastic job in their content. And pretty much most of them have shared over in this space here. So whenever we've asked the question, what if, I feel like it's been a really challenging question. They've shared a potential what if question that they're looking at in their future. A lot of them have talked about, feeling like they're going to fail if they take something on, not sure if they're going to be good enough, really asking those really tough questions, and it's been really great to learn from. Back here is also where we've asked some of the questions. Okay, it's been in both of these zones. Now, when we're looking back into the past and we're looking back on something that's been a positive experience for us, that's actually an okay place to be, because we're looking back and we're asking ourselves, was that experience really great? Did it grow me? Was it a really great thing that I did? And then over here, it's also a good question to ask when we're looking back and we're saying, okay, maybe that wasn't such a great choice. Maybe we could, change that, or what happened if that experience didn't happen to us? Would we be a different person? I know I ask that all the time. I look back and I think, if I didn't go through all of those experiences, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Being in this zone is okay. The only thing you don't want to do is stay there for too long. That can get really dangerous. It's like driving along in a car and you use your rear vision mirror, or you're looking behind you, and you can glance back and you can take a look and you can understand what's happening on the road and making sure that you don't have a blind spot. But if you're looking in the rear vision mirror for too long, you're going to crash straight in front of you, because if anyone that's driven a car or been in a car will understand that you can only look back for a really quick amount of time, and then you've got to start looking through the front screen again. And that's exactly the same when we're looking back on our circumstances in life, when we were little, and all the things that happened to us when we were a kid. All of those experiences, both good and bad, we don't want to stay there for too long. Okay, we all good with that one? Over here, in the challenge of our future, all of our leaders have shared really great content about that challenge that we face. And I'm going to ask a question. I want you to put your hand up if you've ever been in a situation where you've been afraid of failing. Yeah. Yeah. And I expected that response. Nearly every hand in the room, right? Because all of us go to do things at times and we get a little bit afraid that we're not going to make it. But what if I can't do it? What if I don't have what it takes? What if I look silly? What if I fail? What if I fall? What if it just doesn't work out? And we ask those questions, and again, the leaders have done a fabulous job in challenging that perspective and encouraging us that regardless of the fear that we face, it's still okay to put ourselves out there. It's still okay to go after opportunity. It's still okay. And I think that's been really, really fabulous. The first thing I want to do with you is actually share a quote, and a lot of you have probably heard this quote before. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. I'll say it again. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Now, most of you in the room would credit that to Nelson Mandela. And you know what's really, really interesting? I did a lot of research on some of the stuff tonight, and Nelson Mandela never said that. I know, right? I have been believing for probably the past 8 years, since I used that in a speech about 8 years ago, that it was Nelson Mandela, and it wasn't. There's this big myth out there that apparently he did that in an address, and he never did. It's actually from a lady by the name of Marianne Williamson, and she wrote it in a book that she published. Fabulous side note just for you all. So there you go. If you didn't learn anything tonight, Nelson Mandela did not say that quote, but it is an absolutely brilliant quote. And when I think about that, it says we have fears around failing. We have fears about not being adequate. You know, we have those fears, but that's actually not the thing that challenges us the most. Understanding just how powerful we really are, and understanding just how awesome we are, is what we're actually scared of the most. And I totally agree with it. It's very interesting to think about. And what I'm asking us to do tonight, and that's why I've made that square bigger, is that I want us to move. I want us to change our thinking from this future questioning of whether we're good enough, and I want us to move over and spend the entire asset tonight in this future space. For you and for your life and where you are right now, looking into your future in a positive way. That's what I had to do when I started reading this quote of my deepest fear really isn't that I'm not good enough, because sometimes I think that. Sometimes we all think that. Maybe we're not good enough, but that's actually not what stops me. Sometimes I go to do something and I get a little bit afraid and I do it anyway. We all say do it afraid. But when it comes to my real dreams and my real hopes and my real ambitions for life and looking at my full potential, the thing that stops me is actually the thought of success, which is actually quite scary to think about. When I was really young, a lot of people always used to tell me that I was good at speaking. I had the gift of the gab, apparently. Never really knew what that meant. But I was always talking, a million miles an hour. I always had something to say as a kid. And I remember people reflecting that to me. Public speaking has been something that comes naturally to me. You know, I can stand up in front of people and I have the confidence to just talk, right? But talent's never enough. You can be born with talent, but you actually have to grow in it. And it wasn't until I came to Bridge Builders and Phil and all the other people challenged me to do public speaking, I nearly pooed myself. I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me, in front of people? It was something that it was natural to me, but it was still hard to do. But being involved in Bridge Builders, it's really challenged me to grow in that area. And I've had other environments as well where I've been challenged to get outside of my comfort zone and to grow in public speaking. But when I think about public speaking for my future, that's a whole different ballgame. Because it's really scary to think about. The success that I could take that to if I really had the courage to give it a go. If I really had the courage to go after that dream, what would that look like? I got an email a couple of weeks ago from a lady at a school. And she said, can you please come and be our speaker for a mother-daughter evening? What was my first thought?
Not a mom.
Bingo. I automatically discounted myself before I even read the rest of the email. But the interesting part was as I began to read through, the lady that had emailed me was actually starting to talk about the fact that somebody else had recommended me for this. I'm thinking, somebody thinks I've got something to say. How cool is that? I was having a moment at my desk trying to figure out of whether I did actually have something to say or not. And the fascinating part was, you're absolutely right. I'm not a mother, but I'm a mother to a whole lot of everybody else's kids. I don't have any kids myself, but I have been doing youth work for 10 years and I've got something to say. And I went and did that speaking engagement and it was brilliant and I did a fabulous job. But see, we still have those doubts and those fears that hold us back at times, but tonight I want us to sit in this future space. So for me, I think about public speaking. How far could I take this? What could I really do with it? Can I really grow it to be in a space where I'm a fantastic public speaker traveling the world? Imagine the places that I'd get to see. Like the world, that's a big place. I could go and see other cultures, I could go to other countries, I could imagine the people that I would meet, the other fabulous leaders and speakers out there. And I start thinking about that and I almost kind of start shaking a little bit because I get really excited. I think, how amazing would that be? Now for me, public speaking isn't about just talking. Public speaking for me is about taking something that I've learned, something that I've had happen in my life or an experience, and actually just sharing and educating other people and inspiring people. So I say public speaking, but really what I'm talking about is being significant in somebody else's world, having an impact, having something to say that changes them for the better. And after all, aren't we all after significance? Isn't it something that we all want to do, is be significant to somebody else? Well, at least that's what it is for me anyway. Imagine the possibilities. I think about that for me, and then I think about that for you. Imagine if, when you think about the career path that you want to go after, that goal that you want to set for yourself, imagine if you could move away from all of the thoughts around fear and failure and move into a space of thinking, imagine if that was actually true, what your life would look like. Imagine the kind of person you would be if you actually achieved that. That's a scary thought for me. Leadership has also been something that I feel like is part of who I am. It's like in my DNA. I can't get away from it. I love leading and I love influencing other people for the better. And again, I remember when I was probably 6 or 7 and I started on a basketball team, and for me that was the first time I even understood what leadership was. I was directing people on the court, telling them what to do and how to play. I didn't even know how to play. And I was assuming the role of a captain on a team, probably because I'm competitive, yes, but more so because I was naturally a good leader. Again, coming to Bridge Builders and having really great leaders share into my life and help me grow was a fantastic experience for me to develop. And I've had other places, traveling to the States and being taught by John Maxwell around the leadership content as well has really helped me. And I've challenged myself to become a better leader because talent was never enough. I needed the training as well. But I'm still not there yet. I'm still only a fraction of what I can really be as a leader. And you, sitting in this room tonight, are only a fraction of where you want to go right now. Such a small part. There is so much more for you and I. What would it really look like? I ask myself that question. I stand in this quadrant and I think, okay, leadership, how far can this go? How far can this really go? And I think, okay, let's break it down a little bit. I'm 10 years down the track. Someone tell me what year that is. There we go. I was just checking everyone's maths, right? 10 years down the track. I'm imagining for myself right now, but put yourself in the same circumstance. 10 years down the track, I'm leading Just Say an organisation. I'm the CEO. That's a nice title. I'm going to add another letter to the start of EO. Let's just say that organisation has 100 staff. Let's just pluck a figure out of the air. 100 staff. I'm directly getting up out of bed every day and positively impacting and leading the lives of 100 people. That's awesome, isn't it? But then I think about the people that those people know. Imagine if every one of those 100 people had another 100 people that they influenced. I'm indirectly and directly impacting 10,000 people a day. What would that be like? I get all tingly thinking about it. It is so exciting for me to think about the possibility of fulfilling my potential in leadership. And again, it has nothing to do with the organisation and the people itself. For me, it's all about what I can do for other people, how significant I can be in somebody else's world, the influence that I can have, the way that I can help and educate and inspire other people. For me, that's a really exciting concept. What does that look like for you? If you were to move away, to change your thinking, and move away from all of the thoughts of fear when it comes to your future, and stay in this box here around the positivity in your future. See, it's possible for every single one of you. I was reading this, I wasn't reading, I was listening because it was an audiobook. I was listening to an audiobook the other day by Dr. Caroline Leaf, and she's a psychologist, phenomenal lady, travels the world speaking about the brain, the development of the brain. And she said this one sentence, and I couldn't get it out of my head. She said, every morning, well, every night when you go to bed, what actually happens in your brain is that a process called neurogenesis takes place. Neurogenesis. And what that means is you grow new brain cells. How cool is that? Every night you go to bed, neurogenesis happens, neuro meaning neuron, genesis meaning the beginning of neurons. Brand new thinking neurons in your brain when you wake up every morning. What are you doing with them? You're over here in the negative thinking space yesterday, but you woke up the next morning and you have brand new brain cells. Is that not something to celebrate? I get excited about that because I think I can change the way that I think. I can change what I do today because I have all these new brain cells buzzing around in my head. Is that not exciting? How cool is that? I heard that and I was like, that's the best thing ever. Oh, I love it. I have new brain cells. We can actually train our brain. They're doing all of this study at the moment around the development of the brain and understanding how when we make a decision in our life, how that actually triggers a different response in the brain that changes our DNA and our body feels the response of our decisions. And I was like, whoa, back up. How cool is that? We can actually change our thinking from all the negativity into the positivity when we look in our future. We can actually do that. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So what does it look like for you to move from this space here? Because your deepest fear is not that you are inadequate. Your deepest fear is that you're actually extremely powerful. Every single one of you in the room are born with natural talents, whether you think that or not, it's true. You're born with natural talents. You are amazing people. You have a bright future. You're all very young. What are you doing with your new brain cells that you get given every morning? When you ask yourself that question, where am I going and what am I doing? Why does it have to be about what you're not good at? Why can't it be what you're awesome at? Why can't I say that I'm an amazing public speaker and everyone in the room nods their heads? Of course you are. Why can't I say that? Why can't you say that about you? I know it's hard living in Australia because we fight that tall poppy syndrome where everyone wants to knock each other down. But why can't I stand up the front and say that I'm awesome? Why can't you do that? Sometimes we just get stuck. We just get stuck in an old way of thinking. But sometimes you just have to begin to imagine for a few moments. You just have to pause and you just have to start thinking about your future in that positive light. What if I actually did that? What if I made it? What if that thing that I'm fearing a lot actually worked out really well? What if that relationship was really great? What if that friendship worked well? What if I actually succeeded in year 12 and I got the best ATAR score ever? Imagine if I got into that university.
Why'd you cut me on the shirt?
Imagine if I became that certain career path. If you want to be a chef, go be a chef. Why not? You want to get into the Air Force or the Navy? Go, do it. Why not? Why not? It's all about the impact of influence in leadership for me. Again, it comes back to not what I'm doing, but why I'm doing it. And why I'm doing it's really important. Because I want to be able to positively influence the lives of other people. And I want to get away from this place where I just get stuck believing I can't do something or I can't be a particular person. The struggle for me when I stand in this quadrant and I look forward 10 years and I go, oh yeah, that would be amazing. And I think about the kind of person I would need to be, is that I think what I could do and what I do is very different. And it's the same for you. Maybe what you could do and what you do is very different. And when I say that, I mean in the future, you could do so many things. But what are you doing today to actually get you there? See, because you can keep imagining all you like. And if you're just thinking about it and thinking about it, not actually doing anything about it, that gap is always going to exist. But tonight you can close the gap. You can make a choice tonight to stop allowing the negativity to overrun your mind. Use those little baby brain cells that you've got and start thinking differently and then actually make a plan to do that. Tonight when we move into our packs, I'm actually going to give the leaders a little piece of paper and it's got the year 2021 written on it. A little scary to even think about, really. When I wrote that down, I was like, oh my gosh, the year 2021. That's awesome. It's 5 years away. And what I'm going to ask you guys to do, what the pack leaders are going to ask you to do tonight, is actually to get you thinking, imagine if you were in that year, right now, tonight. Imagine if you were in 2021, that's 5 years. Imagine how old you'll be, and what kind of year level at school or uni you'll be, or what kind of job you'll be in. And then I want you to look back, and I want you to write what you achieved in a particular time frame. So say, for example, it's 2021, and I'm going to write, I was an awesome public speaker, yeah. But then it's going to ask me when I achieved that. I did that in 2017. Because remember, I'm in 2021 and I'm looking back. And then down the bottom, it's got who. And the question is, who helped you get there? And I'm going to write down a bunch of names. And for you tonight, when you finish writing on that piece of paper, the interesting part is the person, the bottom, whose name sits there, that's going to help you get there in a couple of years, that you're going to look back and go, that was the person. Maybe this week you need to go and have a conversation with them. talk to them about what that actually means for them to help you get to where you want to go. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. We're not afraid of failing. When you step, well, you might be, but when you really step into what it looks like to succeed, when you start to think about that you're really in that place where you want to be, all of that stuff, to me, it fades away. It just fades into insignificance. No longer am I afraid of failing or not getting it right. I'm so excited. I'm a little bit scared, but I'm so excited about where I'm going. And when I ask myself, what if, I ask it in a different way. What if I made it? What if you made it? What if you made it to where you want to go? That goal that you were aiming for, that thing that you were trying to do, that person you were trying to become. Remember, it's okay to look back and wonder if a positive experience shaped your life. It's okay to look back and go, maybe that wasn't the best choice. I wonder if I was a different person, but don't stay there for too long. But what I'm talking about tonight is shifting, a mind shift from looking into your future, thinking, I'm just not good enough, into a space where it says, what if I really made it? And how can I get there? I really want to encourage you guys. You have the ability to think differently about your future, and you can do it. For me, I expect that in 10 years that I will have grown a lot more in those two areas of public speaking and leadership. I have that expectation of myself. And now I think about it in a different light, and you can too. Thank you so much for letting me share tonight. Have a wonderful time in the pack.